Hello and welcome to the weekly Course in Miracles group coaching or group study call. I am your facilitator, your friend, your host, your all-around okay dude, Max Ryan. It's good to hear you for everyone here on the call. And what we do here is every week we get together and we talk about a section of A Course in Miracles, and we see how it reflects in our life and how we can apply those principles more into our lives. And we do that by reading and then sharing and then reading and sharing. And it's a free-form kind of flow here, what we do. And the other thing that we do is that we do share here, because one of the biggest lessons in A Course in Miracles is there's only one of us here at a spiritual level. There's only really one of us here. We're just like separate. We just believe that we're separated on some level. So when we share and we really witness our brothers and sisters, we see how we really are exactly like each other. We all have the same problems. We all have the same loves. We all have the same luggage. Does that make sense, everyone?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, for sure. And as we hear everyone's, successes and struggles, we realize that we are each other. So that's why we have at the beginning of our call, we have a little bit of a sharing. And that sharing, we'll talk a little bit more about that sharing. Then we'll talk about the section that I was guided to read today. And then we will wrap it up to see what everyone's taking away for the day. Does that make sense, everybody?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Good. Awesome. Good. All right. So one of the first things that we do here is we say a prayer, because the Course in Miracles would say, and every other teaching really, but the Course in Miracles specifically says that prayer is the medium of miracles. And miracles are a shift. One of the definitions of a miracle is a shift in our perception. So when we pray, we shift our perception. And so we like to pray so that we can come back from craziness and fear and anxiety and overwhelmment to peace and joy and love. Say us if you love love.
Yes.
Yes, for sure. Okay. All right, so let's all close our eyes. Take a deep breath. Dear Mother, Father, God, Divine Source, Universe, all that is, we come together today with open hearts, open minds, and an open spirit. We allow today to be a time of love and support and guidance for everyone on the live call and everyone listening to the replay. For we know that there is no time. And as soon as we bring to mind the idea and the vibration of love, then it is in that moment as real as it is in the future or in the past. For as the Course in Miracles would say, only love is real. And we ask that this time be really spent in handing over all of the things we are trying to control. We ask that this time be spent in letting go of our agenda a little bit more and letting go of our need to be right and our need to have things go our way. So we let go of that a little bit tonight, and in order to just sink deeper into the flow of the universe, the flow of God, the flow of spirit that is always there with us. And we dedicate this time to making that a reality in a more real and fundamental way in our lives. And we take a deep breath. And together we say, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And so it is.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Awesome. Good. All right. So before we get into the sharing, just for people that are new to A Course in Miracles, the Course in Miracles is a non-dualistic teaching. And what that means is it's a mystical, basically a mystical training, and it's non-dualistic, meaning that what it is trying to do for us and help us to come to the realization is that there is only love. And everything else that's not of love and light and peace and God is an illusion on a very significant level. It is everything that is of the world on some level is an illusion. That doesn't mean it's not really there. That's important. It's there, and it's there to teach us. It's not that the things of the world are bad at all. What's happening in the world? It's an illusion in the sense that we are projecting it out into the world, and the source is God. The source is love. The source is peace. And as we project things out into the world, it looks insane. It looks crazy. And so what the Course in Miracles is trying to do is trying to help us to take away our judgments on the world, what we have prescribed as what's good and bad in the world, and all of that, because the real suffering comes from opposing the will of love, really. Real suffering comes from that. And also suffering comes from having an idea in our mind, because this is a mind training, having an idea in our mind that something is bad or something is good, or something is better or something is best, or something is, fat or thin, or good or bad, or ugly or pretty, or all that drives you insane. And so that's kind of an illusion. When we come back and we see, whoa, through the illusion that everything is love, that everything is perfect the way it is, exactly the way it is, that's what the Course in Miracles is trying to do. It has one goal. The one goal of the Course in Miracles is our inner peace, our peace, our peace, our peace. And so that's what the Course in Miracles does. And it has many, many, many different spiritual truths, and you might say spiritual principles in this book. And that's why we come back to it over and over and over again. Because when we do not tend to our mind, when we do not really access our power of choice by refocusing, by reminding ourselves, then we very easily can fall back into the world and fall back into this world of duality, of I'm a loser and they're a winner. I'm poor and they're rich. I'm rich and they're poor. I'm better than them, or they're better than me, or all of that stuff. It's very easy to fall back into all that stuff where you literally go insane and you forget who you are if you don't come back to a real spiritual training or a spiritual path, you might say. And that's why we come back to A Course in Miracles. And if you're on this call, some part of you is calling for peace. Some part of you heard the call, and as it's very similar to the Bible. It says all are called, meaning that the vibration of love is always there. The still small voice for God and love is always there. So all are called by that voice, but few choose to listen. And you, right now, are choosing to listen. You're choosing beyond the insanity of the world, back to love and back to peace. So give yourself a round of applause. Yay! Awesome. All right. So before we get into our sharing, I just want to ask: does anyone here on the call? We have Del, Yolanda, Colleen, and Barbara. Did anyone else come on? No. We have Del, Yolanda, Colleen, and Barbara. Is there anyone that has any questions about A Course in Miracles before we start our individual sharing? Okay. All right. Going once, going twice. I must have explained it very well. Good. Okay. Okay. So we are now going to share. And you know what? Here's the deal. It's okay to laugh here. We like to laugh. Because, in many ways, what the Course in Miracles is saying, you're being too serious. Lighten up. So it's good to laugh. So let's we'll go around, and the sharing part, you don't have to say much. You can say a little or a lot, But this is really where we get to hear each other's voice, and it's really important on an audio call like this because we can't see each other. It's good for us to hear each other. So we are going to share. It can be a little, it can be a lot. It can be a struggle that you're kind of dealing with, or it could be some success you've had, or it can just be like, wow, I watched a great movie. It doesn't really matter, actually, because it's not the words that you're saying. It's about you just revealing a part of yourself for a moment so that we can all be reminded that we are our brothers and sisters. So with that in mind, I will share something. I'll share something. This week, I take care of my father, so I live in his house, and I have an apartment in New York, but I come back and forth, but mostly I'm here. And my father is 78, and he is a great guy, wonderful, but he needs help. He needs some help keeping the house up and all that stuff. But his mind is completely there. Great guy. He has two dogs, Shadow and Buster, and they're really great. They're both black. One is like a terrier, and one is like, for lack of a better term, like a really pretty chow without that flat chow face. She's a really great dog. Well, the other morning, I woke up and there was blood on the floor. And I was like, oh, okay. And I could tell, because she's been sneezing, I could tell that she sneezed and it kind of went in a spray. And I was like, oh, that's coming from her nose. My intuition immediately went, uh-oh, that's not good. That's not good. And I looked at her, and her nose was bleeding a little bit, but my intuition was like, that's not so great. And then my dad came home, and I said, well, it's probably, who knows? And he was like, oh, it's probably a foxtail in her nose or whatever. And I just was like, I wasn't going to go to that place where my intuition was like, well, this is a tumor in her nose. I could feel it. There's a tumor in her nose. Later in that day, she started bleeding more in her nose, and my dad was like, yeah, we better take her to the vet now. And I was like, okay, let's go. Well, it turns out that it is a tumor in her nose. And it was just, I have to tell you, my dad's the greatest guy in the world. And the way that this woman gave us the news, I was kind of offended when she did it. She was like, well, it's this and this and this. And it's like, well, if you think it's time, then we can just put her down. I was like, you know what, ma'am? Because the dog is completely fine. I mean, I'm telling you, totally fine, happy, everything's fine. And she's not a little nosebleed. She's not suffering at all. There's nothing really wrong with her. And the way that she said it, I was like, excuse me, can you just back up here? You're just laying this on that if it's time, it's time. And she was taken aback because I'm a New Yorker. I say it like it is. And my dad, and I'm thinking of my dad. It's my dad's baby. It's like his kid. He loves those. Oh, it's just crazy. And she was like, well, I'm sorry. And I was like, and I go, just kind of let's slow your roll, lady. Hold on a second. Can't just come in here and say that. We need a little. And she's like, do you need time? And I go, yeah, we need a second. She's like, okay. So she leaves. And and when this was happening, I could see my dad just melting. And he just started sobbing. And it was very sad, but it was very beautiful. And what was so beautiful about it was I loved how my dad's emotions are right there, right at the surface. And it's like he was completely hurt. He was completely devastated. And he just broke down right there. And we sat there for a while. And I just, patted his back, and I let him know I was there, and let him cry. It was a sad, intense moment. And I was like, Dad, whatever you want to do. I said, it's your dog, it's your baby, whatever. And I'm like, and I go, and that lady has a problem. She should not be saying that. She should be telling us, whatever. And I said, it's your dog. We'll do whatever you need to do. And he's like, well, she doesn't seem very sick. And I go, I know she doesn't seem very sick. And so ultimately, she comes back, and she was very apologetic. I was out of line. I feel really bad. And I go, don't feel bad. I just feel like, I needed to say something in the moment. And then she started saying, well, it is, there's alternatives, and we can give antibiotics for a while and give her prednisone, and it might stop the swelling and the bleeding. And then she says, and you never know how long she'll last. And I'm like, well, you might have done that before. But I wanted to just share that because I thought, and now the dog is great. She's eating her pills. She's doing fine. And I'm like, you know what? This is the dog is a huge dog, and she's almost 14 years old. It's like, there's a circle of life. But she's happy, and everything's okay. But I relate that because I had a huge lesson. And I looked at my dad, and I thought, wow, you know what? That is really amazing. How incredibly in touch you are with your emotions to just break down like that. And then he was okay. And I mean, of course he's sad. But, I just wanted to share that because I thought it was a beautiful thing. And the dog's doing good. She's taking her pills. And that's what I was going to share. So I feel thankful and grateful that I had the experience of doing that with him. So that's my sharing. Who is going to share next? Not to bring you down, everybody. I'm sorry. Did I bring you down? I know. It's heavy. But you know what? Life's heavy. But we don't have to, life's heavy. Oh, boy. Wow. Ooh, I feel like I need to do something. You all went way down. Oosh. Okay, I feel really bad now. I'm really sorry that I laid that all on you. I feel very bad now.
That is true.
It's fine.
It shocked you all.
Okay?
I'm okay. I just feel bad now.
Why?
Bad.
That was a
I feel like you. Yeah.
Hey, Max, you're not responsible for our feelings.
I know. Thank you for that. Thank you, Coach Yolanda.
It's all good, man. It's okay. It's cool.
Yeah. Thank you, Coach Yolanda. You are exactly right. You're exactly right. Good. Yolanda's going to be teaching the class next. Thank you very much. Next week. Good. Okay, who's going to go next?
It's Barbara. I'll go.
Okay, Barbara.
Okay. I've had an amazing 2-3 weeks, whatever you want to say. Arthur, my husband for 39 years, we're just really good friends, has been ill for in and out, hospital and now in a nursing home, and the children need to find a home for him. Well, to make a long story short, Becca's busy doing this, Timothy's busy doing that, and they finally said, Mom, can you please help us? And I'm actually very creative on the telephone. So I said, okay, sure, I'll do that. Well, I did a little bit yesterday, and then Timothy said, well, I think maybe he can stay where he is. And I said, great. He called this morning, and he wanted to know exactly what I was saying, and I went, all right, here it is, da-da-da, whatever. And so then I waited for him all day long to come around and say, he found out he could be there full-time or he couldn't be there for a long-term kind. So anyway, I waited and waited. And then the lady, yesterday I made a couple calls and a couple contacts with nursing homes or wherever. And two of them actually had contacted the St. Martha's where my home is. And I called her, she called me, and back and forth. And she said, we don't have a long-term care application for Arthur. And I said, oh, so that's why we don't have anything. And I said, oh, could you possibly have something? And she said, I think so. All we need is the application, and we've been bending and making some differences and this sort of thing, and he's in medical. So he can stay there until we find a place. We just did the application. So I was very pushed out of shape late afternoon because of Timothy. And Becca, well, whatever. And Becca has long-term care, and she's going to drop it off tomorrow. I think we're going to just be fine. He can stay where he is, and it's close to her, and all is good. I'm not very happy the way everybody handled everything, but you know what? That's their choice, and my choice is to move on.
Mhm.
Actually, it was very hard to do that.
And everything's kind of worked itself out, kind of.
It did. It worked out perfectly. You know, there were things in mountains, out of molehills and drama and everything, and it just was great. So, you know, it's not worth the drama. You know, live in the love and honest and, you know, understanding and trust, I guess.
Mhm. Nice. Good. Good. Thank you for sharing that, Barbara. Thank you. All right. Who's next? Don't all jump at once.
Come on, guys.
Okay. Okay. If you really don't want to share, then we're just going to go right into our stuff. No one wants to share? I'm not going to force you to.
This is Yolanda.
Okay, Yolanda.
Thank you.
Everything's great. So far, so good. Great. I got back on track after, you know, last week when I told you I was feeling better. Everything's really good. What I'm trying to do right now, I noticed that sometimes, you know, my family's close in the respect that, like, I live sort of with my youngest daughter and her family since I came to North Dakota. So even though I have, like, the apartment above their house, we're still all together, and we work together. So we spend a lot of time together. And I was thinking about it the other day, and what I'd like to work on myself is being able to listen without having to say something. Like, she'll share something they're going to do or want to do, and then, you know, mom's good advice. Mom's always got to throw in some advice. It's like, I don't need to throw in some advice. I can just shut up and listen. So what I mean, that's kind of, I've been thinking about that, and sometimes, like, I'll say something, and I mean, I feel that my intentions are really good when I'm doing it. I'm not doing it to be mean. I'm doing it because maybe she didn't think about this particular aspect or that, and then I'll say something, and then I'll think, why did you even choose this? Why don't you just let her live her life? It's like not minding my own vibration, because she's sharing something with me doesn't necessarily mean she needs to hear my opinion or suggestion. Just love her more. Just be supportive and say, that sounds great. You know, if you need something, you know where I am. That kind of thing. I don't know. But I'd like to work on something like that. I'd like to work on making that change with myself. So,
nice.
Other than
that's great self-awareness. Wonderful self-awareness.
Yolanda, I'm doing the same thing. It's great.
Yeah, definitely. In part of the Course in Miracles, it really says, you know, we're not the policemen of the universe, and the more we let go of that, the more peace we have. So, and even if it's coming from say again.
I said I got to put away my universe badge.
Exactly. I'm the policeman of the universe. Dun, dun, dun. I love that. Thank you. Thank you, Yolanda. Anyone else want to share before we get into our chapter for today?
I will. This is Dell.
Okay, Dell.
Okay, well, last week my daughter's car decided, I get a text, you know, like 7:30 at night saying that she thinks her car died. And it's like, okay. So I, you know, instead of going myself, I sent her dad. It's like, because he knows cars about more than I do. So it's like, and what she sent me sounded like it was like either a starter or ignition switch issue. So they said it took him like 2 hours before he came back home, but not that I was watching the clock or anything. But anyway, I found out that got it started once, but couldn't get it restarted after that. But took it directly to the Honda place. Happy to say it was the ignition switch after we told them multiple times that's what it was.
So you knew.
I did.
Good. You heard a voice that told you that.
Yep.
I love it. Oh, and everything's okay?
Oh yes, she got it. Has her car back. She's happy to have her car back, and I'm sure her dad's happy to have his car back.
I love that. Good. Thank you, Dell. Thank you for sharing that. That's a good story. I like it. Colleen, do you want to share, or should we go into our stuff?
Well, I had a few car issues myself this last week.
Law of attraction.
I kind of chugged home on my car from vacation, and I took it in, and they said, well, we'll have to figure it out, and I guess the engine is eating oil.
Mm.
So they had me do a test. I had to drive 500 miles, which took me a little over a week to do. And then I went back in, and sure enough, I was down a quart of oil. But I found out that it's all going to be covered, new pistons and rings, because this is a known issue with my car.
No.
Nice.
Good. So you probably saved a lot of money, actually, right?
Yeah. So, but the fact that it's going to be covered, and I think I'll owe a small deductible, about $100, and the rest is taken care of. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it. In true kind of law of attraction mode, what would be fantastic if you could find out how much it really would have cost, and then you could really be in the vibration of, wow, look.
There you go. That's like money in the pocket then.
That's right. The universe is totally supporting you to the tune of $1,100 or $2,000 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I love that. Good for you. I love it. Good. Cool. All right. So we're going to read now, and the way that we do this is I follow my intuition, and we are going to read, and if you have a book with you, The Course in Miracles with you, we're on chapter 29, and it is section 6, Forgiveness and the End of Time. So chapter 29, section 6, Forgiveness and the End of Time. And I know a lot of people don't have the Course, so I read slowly. You should read not should, but it's good Course. Read the Course very slowly anyway, because when you read it slowly, it sinks in. This isn't a self-help book. This is like, this is words of truth. You don't want to fly through them. You want to let them just marinate. Do you know what I mean by marinate?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, everyone take a deep breath. So this is chapter 29, section 6, Forgiveness and the End of Time. How willing are you to forgive your brother? How much do you desire peace instead of endless strife and misery and pain? These questions are the same in different form. Forgiveness is your peace, for herein lies the end of separation and the dream of danger and destruction, sin and death, of madness and of murder, grief and loss. This is the, quote, sacrifice salvation asks and gladly offers peace instead of this. Okay, that's the first paragraph. It's pretty heavy. But this is, remember what I was talking about before, about what the Course in Miracles is showing you, that the world this is the world of destruction and sin and death and madness and murder and grief and loss. And what he's saying here is, how willing are we to forgive our brother? How much do we desire peace instead of endless strife and misery and pain? And you know, this is very key to A Course in Miracles. And this is very extreme, because he's not he doesn't say in here, and we've talked about this before because of the themes, and now that, I think this is in this round, I think this is our 22nd or 23rd call. Wow. And so themes come back over and over and over, and this idea of forgiveness will come up over and over and over, and this other idea of forgiving our brother. And he doesn't say, how willing are you to forgive some of your brothers? He says, how willing are you to forgive your brother? And that's a big difference. He's not saying, how willing are you to forgive the brothers that do the things that you think are just sort of bad, or they do something just a little bit okay. He's saying, everyone, how much are we willing to forgive them? It's very, very, very crucial that he put this line right after it. How much do you desire peace instead of endless strife and misery and pain? Those two things are completely connected. Those are the same questions. If we really do desire to be peaceful, we really do desire to end this craziness of this world of strife and misery and pain, then we must, if we really do want that, then we must be willing to forgive our brothers. Anyone want to say anything about this section before we move on? Does it bring up stuff for you? Are you thinking about who you need to forgive, or who you haven't forgiven? Well, I can think of a few. Yolanda.
For years, because I'm sure my daughter's not going to listen to this, so let me just say, for years, I have struggled with loving my son-in-law. I just, there's things that he says and does or doesn't do, and I, for whatever reason, I always see him in the negative light because I compare him to, like, my dad and my uncle and, with the men when I was growing up, what a man did. A man mows the lawn and cleans up the grass, a man helps his wife, all these things that, like, have nothing to do with love, but that are in my mind. And so because of that, and for a while, I really started getting to just liking him. Just, tried real hard to do the love thing. Just love him. You got to love him, right? Because I started studying with you. You got to love him,
Mm-hmm.
Our relationship actually got better. And he was going through some stuff that he's actually taking care of. And so he's happier more frequently than he used to be. And but I found lately that I'm kind of going backwards a little bit. We all went to breakfast the other day, and he was in a bad mood because he wanted to go left, and my daughter told him to go right, because if you go right and then you make a left, you're going to cut out this backtracking road that you want to take. So he had an attitude all through breakfast. Heavy, angry, energy, just everybody, the kids were all had that look on their face like, oh, Dad's mad and all this stuff. I start the love game in the car. I love your game, Max. I love, so I started thinking I was having a hard time with that because I'm like, dude, when are you going to grow up and just be nice? When are you going to smile? When are you going to be happy? And then I had to look at myself and say, now, Yolanda.
That's right.
Yeah, and stop. You need to stop. Don't worry about where he goes with his emotions. You need to have that love. That's what reading me. When you go through these things.
So valuable, Yolanda. Thank you for sharing that. So valuable when we see, it's the one of the lines from the Course in Miracles that says, do not seek to change the world. You could say, do not seek to change people, but instead seek to change your mind about people. Mm-hmm. So it's not about them. It's never about them. And that's why this course it asks a lot of us. But when you give a lot, when you go out on a limb, the rewards are so much more. This is not the course. I mean, really, I don't know if there's any place in the course that would say in that situation that Jesus would say, well, you need to just get away and just leave. He would not say that. Jesus would say you need to change your mind about him so that you're at peace. And when you do that, then everything changes. So, and it's not always easy, right, everybody?
Right. Sure.
It's not always easy. But, great rewards come from really doing the thing that's the hardest a lot of times. But when you get it, you can then have that incredible, beautiful, amazing, healthy detachment of what everyone else is doing. And go, oh, look at, he's angry. Anyway, so that's great. I'm loved. I love you. Good. And that's when people start to really change. I mean, we're not doing to change them. We're doing to change us. So, good. I love it. Anyone else want to say anything? Because this one little section, these few lines, really is challenging. Because if you think about it, and we've talked about it here before a lot, and you think about it not just in your personal life, I mean, you think about it how we see the world. Are we willing to really desire peace instead of saying the Democrats suck? Are we willing to have peace more than we say, you know what, the rich people are horrible, the 1% are awful, and they're ruining our country, whatever? How much do we really want to do? And that's up to all of us to walk through this world and go, oh, yeah, really, it's true. As long as I'm not forgiving my brother, I'm keeping myself in prison. Make sense, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. I'm going to read anyone else want to say before we keep going? Okay. We're going to keep going. All right. So I'm just going to recap because sometimes when we break, we forget where we were. So I'm just going to go back. He says, forgiveness is your peace. For herein lies the end of separation and the dreams of danger and destruction. The dreams of danger and destruction. See? The dream of sin, the dream of death, the dream of madness, the dream of murder, the dream of grief, and the dream of loss. I'm adding that in myself. This is the, quote, sacrifice salvation asks and gladly offers peace instead of all of this. And going on, he says, swear not to die, you holy Son of God. You make a bargain that you cannot keep. The Son of Life, I love that. The Son of Life cannot be killed. He is immortal as his Father. What he is cannot be changed. He is the only thing in all the universe that must be one. What seems eternal, all will have an end. What seems eternal, all will have an end. The stars will disappear, and the night and day will be no more. All things that come and go, the tides, the seasons, and the lives of men, all things that change with time and bloom and fade, will not return. Where time has set an end is not where the eternal is. God's Son can never change by what men made of him. He will be as he was and as he is, for time appointed not his destiny, nor set the hour of his birth and death. Forgiveness will not change him, yet time waits upon forgiveness, that the things of time may disappear because they have no use. Wow. Remember what I was saying at the very beginning about how this world of illusion, do you remember I said that before we talked? Say yes if you do.
Mm-hmm.
This is exactly what he's talking about here. The stars will go. The seasons will be no more. The lives of men will go away. All things will change with time, but then he says, yet time waits for forgiveness, that the things of time may disappear because they have no use. So Really, what he's saying here is so deep and so true, and this is what we really have to get. We don't have to get, but he's presenting to us that we're putting so much energy and effort and focus on creating a reality in this time and space when our reality is not in this time and space. Our reality, the eternal, is not of this time and space at all. It's something much bigger, which he'll go on to say. Does anyone want to say anything about this idea of everything will disappear and there will be things no more? It's pretty heavy, I know. And I'll tell you this. When you have true awakening, you really want to go to the awakening place. You really want to awaken to truth. We have to let go of everything, every idea of what we have of everything. That's what's being asked of us. I mean, this is an intense path. So if we're being asked to be like, let go of your attachment to that, let go of your attachment to that, let go of your attachment to that, and that, and that, and that. And we're all free to choose what we let go of, and that's okay. But when you really go there, to really find the love, the depth, and the joy, and the peace, we really do have to let go of everything and say, oh, let it go. In our live gathering the other day, Polly and I, the theme of Let It Go came up so much that I was like, wait a second, we have to play the song Let It Go right now. And we played Let It Go. And I was like, there is no reason. I mean, there's a very specific reason why that song, you all know the song I'm talking about, right? The Disney song?
Yep, yep.
You probably heard it 50 million times and you want to throw your children's toys across the room because you're done with it. But what I was saying is there's no coincidence that song is so huge. I mean, that song is meteoric. That song is amazing. Everybody knows that song. It's huge. See, the things in the world are a reflection of our own internal conflict or what we need. And what do we need to all do?
Let it go.
Let it go.
Let it go. We all need to let it go. And that is, I believe very strongly, and that's what this is kind of saying. It's like, you need to let go that there's any real happiness in having $1 million. You need to let go that there's any real peace in just having this thing or that thing, because it's going to go. So let it go. And let it go. And then it comes back to the old thing. Fill in the blank. Let go. Let
God.
Go. God.
Let go. Let God. And whatever works, let go. And I love when he says here, the Son of Life cannot be killed. Isn't that beautiful? The Son of Life cannot be killed. I just love that. I think I feel like I want to have a T-shirt written, the Son of Life cannot be killed. I just love that because we can't be killed. And if anyone else here has ever had a near-death experience, you really get it. You really get it. You got to let it all go. Any reflections about ever? Yes. Who's that?
Did you say, this is Yolanda, did you say, after you said let go, let God, what did you say? Did you say that, what is it, something of empty pills? What did you
I don't know what I said. What did I say, everyone?
The T-shirt you would have if you could have it say it on a T-shirt.
Yes.
The thing?
On the T-shirt, I would say, the Son of Life cannot be killed.
The Son of Life, L-I-F-E, like
Life.
Frank, L-I-F-E.
Yeah. So he says this in the beginning of that chapter. He says the Son of Life, L-I-F-E. Instead of saying it's always the Son of God, the Son of God, the Son of God, the Son of God. And here he says, for the very first time I think I've ever heard it in the Course in Miracles, he says the Son of Life, because God is life. It's the same thing. I just love it. Yeah. Okay. All right. Anyone want to have any reflection about what we were just talking about, this idea about transitory things and everything will disappear? Okay. pretty heavy, I know. All right, we're going to go on. He says, yet time waits upon forgiveness. Remember, this section is called Forgiveness and the End of Time. So, time waits upon forgiveness that the things of time may disappear because they have no use. Nothing survives its purpose. If it be conceived to die, then die it must, unless it does not take this purpose as its own. Change is the only thing that can be made a blessing here, where purpose is not fixed. However changeless it appears to be. Think not that you can set a goal unlike God's purpose for you and establish it as changeless and eternal. You can give yourself a purpose that you do not have, but you cannot remove the power to change your mind and see another purpose there. I know that's really heavy. There's a lot. But basically he's saying here is that we decide, ooh, you know what, that is something that's eternal. That is something that's important. But he says right here, we cannot remove the purpose that they do not have. But you cannot remove the power to change your mind. And let's come back to that really quickly. Everything in the Course in Miracles is about changing your mind over and over and over, choosing again, saying, oh my God, I was insane. One of the lessons in A Course in Miracles, he says, is that we are giving everything the meaning it has for us. So if we give a meaning that the things of this world mean a certain thing, then that's fine, but we also have the power to choose that maybe it doesn't have the same meaning. Maybe it has no meaning at all. And that's the beginning of letting go of our attachments to things, because our attachments are the things that are keeping us suffering, and our attachments are the things that are keeping us out of peace and in craziness. I know that this is kind of a heavy section, but I follow Spirit on it. How are you all doing? I need to hear your voice for a second. Are you getting what's going on?
Good.
Good. Okay. All right. No, it does change. I mean, things do change here. We're about 3/4 of the way through. All right. So, good. Okay, so he goes on to say, change is the greatest gift God gave to all that you would make eternal, to ensure that only heaven would not pass away. You were not born to die. You cannot change because your function has been fixed by God. All other goals are set in time, and change that time might be preserved except one. Forgiveness does not aim at keeping time, but at its ending. When it has no use, its purpose ended. Forgiveness, its purpose ended. It is gone, and where it once held seeming sway is now restored. The function of God established for His Son in full awareness. Time can set no end to its fulfillment, nor its changelessness, nor is death because the living, there is no death because the living share the function of their Creator that their Creator gave them. Life's function cannot be to die. It must be life's extension. That is, that it be as one forever and forever, without an end. And it's funny, he says, life's function cannot be to die. And remember up here he says, the Son of Life. So life's function cannot be to die. Our function is not to die. That's it. On a spiritual level. And so our function is not to die. Our function must be life's extension, that it be as one forever and ever, without end. This world will bind your feet and tie your hands and kill your body only if you think that it was made to crucify God's Son. Okay, that's heavy. And what is he talking about here, everyone? The world will bind your feet, tie your hands, and kill your body, only if you think that it was made to crucify God's Son. He's talking about the crucifixion, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And if you're new to A Course in Miracles, I mean, I don't know, Colleen, if you know how much, but in The Course in Miracles, we believe that this is Jesus talking, and he uses the crucifixion and the resurrection a lot, a few times. And this really is about if the world will bind your feet and tie your hands and kill your body, only if you think that this world was made to crucify God's Son. See, this comes back to, do you believe that this is a loving universe, or do you think that this is an evil universe?
Yeah.
What is it? Does that make sense?
It's a loving universe.
A loving universe.
Yeah. I think so too. But do you see how in the world you can see it playing out, and even moments in our lives where we go, oh boy, I'm being crucified here. I'm being crucified here. And, you know, we can see it playing out in the world. You just have to turn on the news. The news is a perfect place to go, wow, look at all those people that have the mass hallucination that this world is evil, basically, that it's evil. This is an evil place. So he says, for even though it was a dream of death, you need not let it stand for this to you. Let this be changed, and nothing in the world must be nothing in the world but must be changed as well. For nothing here but is defined as what you see for it. That just comes back to this idea that we're giving everything the meaning it has for us. So if there's death in the world, we're giving it a meaning. If there's strife in the world, we're giving it a meaning, whatever it happens to be. And that's what he's really saying here. The last little section here, he kind of takes a little turn. It's not so intense. He goes, how lovely is the world whose purpose is forgiveness of God's Son. How free from fear, how filled with blessing and with happiness. And what a joyous thing it is to dwell a little while in such a happy place. Nor can it be forgotten in such a world. It is a little while till timelessness comes quietly to take the place of time. I'm going to read that again. It's really beautiful. How lovely is the world whose purpose is forgiveness of God's Son. How free from fear. How filled with blessing and with happiness. And what a joyous thing it is to dwell a little while in such a happy place. Nor can it be forgotten in such a world. It is a little while till timelessness comes quietly to take the place of time. Take a big deep breath. Okay. Very good. All right. There's a lot. There's a lot in that heavy little section. The next section, that is section 7, is seek not outside yourself. That's a beautiful section, which we're not going to read today. But so this section that we just read was forgiveness and the end of time. And I'm going to just kind of wrap up here really quickly, and then we'll all share what we kind of took away from this. But I do know that there are sections of this that got really deep, and they're like, what the hell? What are you talking about? Say yes if you were like, what? at some point.
At some point, maybe. I had to think about it several times to kind of grasp it.
Yeah. And you know what's good is if you have the book, it's easier when you read the heavy stuff to be able to follow it. If you can really follow it with your eyes, it can be easier. So, really what this section is that, as he says, everything in time will go away. It will go away. The stars are going to go away. The seasons are going to go away. All of that stuff is going to go away. But there is no time. There really is no time. And the only way we can get to that place of timelessness, that feeling, as he says right here, till timelessness comes quietly to take the place of time, the only way we can get to that place is to forgive the world for what it is, forgive our brothers, forgive our sisters, forgive experiences, and forgive ourselves. And when we do that, you're like, there really is no time. You have that sense of everything is exactly right the way it is in this moment. And you don't strive to try to change tomorrow. You don't try to fix the past. You're just there in the moment, in the present moment. So that's really what he's saying here. So, and that we can't be, we never die. There is no death. Everything is eternal. We are eternal, and that's really the gift. And we know that from so many other, spiritual teachings. But that's what he's trying to say here too. Because the Son of Life cannot be killed. All right. So let's go around, and if something stood out for you today, or you have a question about anything, who would like to go first? Say your name.
All right, Barbara, I'll go. I think what I'm taking away is forgiveness. Just live in forgiveness, and then you'll find peace and love.
Yeah. Thank you. It's so simple, but we need to be reminded of it over and over, right, Barbara?
Absolutely, yes. And get out of the story we have in our lives.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Mm-hmm. That's why the Course is so valuable, because just when you think like, oh, I got this stuff, and then something comes in your life, and you're like, oh, whoa, that's right. I haven't been forgiving. Or whatever.
Right. No, forgive and forget and let God go. Works.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Thank you, Barbara, very much. Who's going to be next?
I'll go this, Yolanda.
Okay, Yolanda.
I like what I wrote down is do not seek to change people, seek to change your mind about people, and then forgiveness, your peace. I like that. I'm gonna have to print that up and put it on my wall and read it every day.
No, nice.
Yeah.
We I think on a call that you weren't on, we read the section that says that. So it's a beautiful, one of my favorite lines in the whole Course in Miracles, and it says that, it's kind of what a lot of New Thought is all about. So yeah, seek not to change the world, but seek to change your mind about the world. Huge. That takes total responsibility off of other people or the world being responsible for our happiness. No. We are responsible. So, okay, thank you, Yolanda. It's great to hear you. We have Del and Colleen.
This is Colleen. I really liked where it said, change is a blessing or a gift.
Yeah.
All of how we look at it.
It is. Boy. Exactly. That's that line in the fourth paragraph. Change is the greatest gift God gave to all that you would make eternal. Change is the greatest gift that God gives. I agree. That's right. Beautiful. Thank you for that, and thank you for coming on the call. Del, what are you taking away?
Two things I like to, one stood out for me is time can set no end to its fulfillment nor its changelessness. I like that just because it kind of stands out for me. And I know that with forgiveness and let it go and look at it differently and choose peace.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Okay, everyone. All right, let's close our eyes and take a big, deep breath, and we'll say a prayer. Dear Mother, Father, God, Divine Source, Universe, all that is, we thank you so much for this time together. We thank you so much for every single person here on the call and listening to the recording. We are so thankful for this teaching. We are so thankful to be reminded of the idea of forgiveness, and that forgiveness really is the key to peace. As we forgive the world for what it is, as we forgive our brothers, we forgive ourselves, we come back to the present moment where there is no time, where everything is exactly perfect the way it is. And all we have to do is change our mind about it. And we all leave this today with the beautiful reminder that the Son of Life, who is us, cannot be killed. We are eternal, and we will go on and on and on and on. And we take a deep breath. And together we say, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, everyone. That was nice. So we'll be back again next Wednesday. We'll do a different. I'm thinking maybe we'll just go on and do the Speak Not Outside Yourself. It's a really beautiful section too, but I'm not sure. If you ever, need anything from me, you can, email me through the contact page on Attract Positive Results. And then I will invite you, and Colleen and some other people have been watching the 21-day Scope meditations on Periscope, which have been really, really wonderful and fun. And so tomorrow is day 4. And so every morning on Scope between 8:15 or 8:30 Pacific time, we all sit and meditate around one of these in the process affirmations. So you're welcome to come on that. You're welcome to come on all the scopes that I'm doing, and it's a lot of fun. And so I know Del and Colleen and Yolanda, have you watching the scopes?
I have watched some of yours, yes.
Good. Yeah, it's pretty fun. I like it a lot. So there's that. So I invite you to that. Tomorrow afternoon, as usual, we're back. We took a little hiatus, but Polly and I are doing our Divine Message show. That's at 3 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock Eastern, and then and that is on the blog page at attractpositiveresults.com. You can watch it live. And I think that's it. Oh, yeah. And if you feel so moved, you can make a donation for the class today. There's a suggested donation of $10, but you can donate or not, or more or less, and that's all good with me. And it helps me to pay the phone bill and pay some other little bills for all the work that I do. All right. Anyone have any questions or comments before we all say good night? Okay. Going once, going twice, going 3 times.